Hello and welcome to Not Without My Sister, the podcast you didn't know you needed in order to get through your week. So that's accurate. I'm Rosemary McCabe and I'm joined by my sister
Beatrice McCabe.
in the beautiful sunny climes of Indiana where it's due to get down to 15 degrees Celsius on Wednesday and I, for one, cannot wait.
Is that true? 15 degrees?
15 degrees Celsius, 58
Ugh.
degrees Fahrenheit. I looked it up.
Oh.
I know, I can't convert these things. Thank you all for being here with us. In case you didn't know, we have a Patreon now. If you go to patreon.com/notwithoutmysister, you'll get a whole extra episode. You basically get double the amount of episodes when you sign up to the Patreon. It's $5 a month. You get a bonus episode every Friday, and you get this main episode without any annoying ads. Good for you, not for our ad sellers, ad executives.
Oh, for
Who
God's
knows?
sake.
Listen, let's get on with it. Today on the podcast, we thought we would talk about something that's very relatable to everybody, especially given the events of the last 2 years. Stress and how we deal with it. And I'm hoping Beatrice has some novel ways of dealing with it because I basically deal with mine by eating. That's going to be my contribution to the entire episode. Beatrice, how do you deal with stress?
I'd say, eating is an option, but I'd say I also eat when, eating is more just a default reaction to anything that happens in life, good, bad, or indifferent.
Any heightened emotion, a celebration, a commiseration.
Yeah, great news. I'm delighted. Congratulations. Sorry about that. Bad news.
You're
I'm
having
trying
a
to think-
baby.
Yeah, I'm trying to think anything that would not. The only thing is probably a stomach bug. It's probably the only thing that would prevent eating from happening.
What are these thunderous little elephants doing outside the room?
Preparing some food, I hope.
They're about to come in and serve us a 5-course meal.
As if, although they can actually eat everything within sight now. It's like living with the swarm of, I don't know, what are those insects? Is it ants? Is it ants that would eat everything overnight?
Locusts?
Maybe locusts.
A
Yeah.
swarm of locusts will destroy
Yeah.
your entire crop, won't they?
Yeah,
Overnight?
it's like now there's 4 of them, all with full grown appetites.
How would you describe your stress level? I mean, not necessarily at this very moment because we're having a very relaxing Sunday recording the podcast, lol. But in general, like what would you describe on a scale of 1 to 10? What are your stress levels like?
I don't know, they're probably relatively low. 3, 4, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how aware I am of my own stress because I barely sleep a wink. Like I have very bad insomnia and I wonder if that's related to stress. Not for many years it was due to the fact that kids were there. I mean, I also
Yeah.
wonder if I have very disrupted sleep patterns due to the fact that I've had 10 years of raising children, at
Yeah.
various different stages. But now I find I'm awake between 1 and 4:30 every single night, no matter what. Drink wine, don't drink wine. Drink coffee late, drink no coffee. Eat late, eat early. Have a bath. Listen to relaxing sounds. Watch TV. Don't watch TV. Phone on, phone off. I sit up, then I lie back down, and then I think to myself, well, I won't get up now because if I just close my eyes and relax, and then I start doing all kinds of, well, I should do this and I should pay this bill and I should do that. But there's no point at which it switches off and I go back to sleep. I'm just awake until 5 o'clock. Then I'm exhausted and I fall back asleep and wake up wrecked.
Yeah, at like 7:30 when you
Mhm.
have to get up.
Yeah.
It's very annoying, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that probably signifies stress. And then I think you told me that people who don't sleep or a lot or who have disrupted sleep patterns tend to die younger. So that really freaked me out. And
Did I?
it doesn't help. Yeah. At 3 a.m. when I lie there thinking
That was unhelpful.
Yeah, it is unhelpful because it's not really a tool to help sleep better. It just makes you more and more worried about the fact that you're not sleeping.
Maybe you should engage the services of a sleep hygienist or like a sleep therapist.
Maybe.
You can get someone to come over, can't you, and be like, okay, we need to move this and change the lighting and take this out and take
Well, you
this
can
out.
actually go to, like Don had.
Oh, you can go and do that clinic.
Yeah, Don went when we lived in Dallas to a place when they and they, plugged him in and put him on like a bed that was very uncomfortable. And according to him, it was very uncomfortable. And they were like, so we'll be monitoring you overnight and we'll be keeping an eye on you for your various, weird sleep habits or whatever. And I think he had headphones on. I can't remember, but he was plugged
Yeah.
up to loads of electrodes and stuff. And they were like, and if you wake up, don't worry. But anyway, he said he lay down. Now we had 2 kids at this point, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. He said he lay down, he woke up the next morning, the most refreshed he's ever been. And they were like, well, that wasn't a great example. Can you come
You have
back?
no issues. Oh my God, that would be really annoying.
Yeah.
I often hate when I go to the doctor going, I definitely have something wrong with XYZ. And the doctor's like, no, everything's fine.
Sure, did I tell you about the time Julia went to the doctor and
Is this the marks on her
These
arm?
desperate black marks on her arm.
Julie is like, so sorry, in Julie's defense, Julie had been waking up several mornings a
Yes,
week
yes.
with these like black marks
On one
all
arm,
along one
only
arm.
on one arm. Like,
Yeah.
and she was like, "What are they? They're so weird. They disappear during the day, but when I wake up in the morning, they're there again."
Yeah, they're
And
not sore, they're not itchy,
yeah,
they're not.
don't
Yeah,
know what
no
they
idea where
could
they came
be.
from.
Are they a fungus? Are they a rash? Are they? Maybe she didn't say fungus. Sorry, Julie. What are they
Egypt,
basically?
absolute Egypt.
Yeah, she goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Rub, rub. I think it's how are you sleeping?" And she's like, "Well, I'm not sleeping so badly." He says, "No. I mean, how are you sleeping? What position are you sleeping?" And she's like, "Well, I kind of sleep with my arms thrown back over my head." And he's like, "I think it's mascara."
Poor Julie. Poor Julie. But I honestly feel like, I mean, this is a very you thing to say. I feel like I could come over and be your sleep hygienist, but get the baby out, get the dog out, get the cat out.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably not wrong. I mean, and also, it's so important. Like, that's kind of the beginning of everything. If you're not sleeping well,
Oh yeah.
like, forget everything else. Everything else is ratcheted up to 90,
That's well, like that's actually when I was working as a personal trainer, one of the first things you'd ask people would be how are you sleeping before you talk about diet, before you talk about exercise, before you talk about water. Literally be like your body will not do anything efficiently if you're not sleeping.
So
Sorry, I
they're
shouldn't be
all
telling you
my
this. I'm
problems.
very
They're all my
unhelpful.
problems. So what's solution when you, as a personal trainer, said to people, "You're not sleeping"? Did you then have tips for them, or were you just like, "You're fucked"?
No. Yeah. So I then had tips for them that would be like, so for example, we would try to cut out like sugar, caffeine after a certain amount of like after a certain time. So it'd be like after 6 p.m., try and cut down on your caffeine, cut down your sugar. Ideally, don't have any caffeine, right? Which for some people makes a big difference, for some people doesn't. I don't think it makes a big difference to me. You don't think makes a big difference to you. We would also say try not to have your phone in the room. Try to get a clock or like an old fashioned alarm clock so you have no electronics whatsoever in the
So
room.
maybe
because of the
tonight
blue
I
light.
should have no phone in my room.
No, you can't because if I go into labor, I need to call you.
You see, you can't have it every
No,
way.
but you can have your phone on Do Not Disturb across the room so that when you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't turn it on and be blasted with blue light.
Oh, I don't do that.
Do you not?
No, not anymore.
So how do you know what time you wake
Well,
up
I'd
at?
say 2 nights ago. Well, I mean, how am I supposed to look at? Of course, I have to see what time it is. Is it nearly time to get
That's
up?
what I'm saying. You need an alarm clock and not your phone.
I don't want, but like,
A little clock.
it's not that. I mean, blasted with blue light. A tiny.
Blasted with blue
I
light.
have my phone on the lowest possible light setting at night
Do
time.
you have it on sleep mode or not sleep mode? What's it called?
Do not disturb.
No. There's a like night vision or something that you can put
Oh.
it on that between certain hours it tones down the
No,
blue
I
light.
literally have it like this. Look at that.
No, that's still blue light.
Oh no, obviously I don't.
So yes, we would give
me see.
tips like take electronics out of the bedroom, try and make the bedroom cool, like the coolest room in the house should be your bedroom. People say that it's good to have like blackout blinds, but actually for a lot of people it totally depends on your lifestyle as well. If you can go to bed when the sun has set and if you can get up when the sun is rising, which doesn't often work in the summer, but if you can kind of train your body to work with the rhythms of the sun, that works better. You know what I mean? So you wake up naturally in daylight, which it doesn't work in Indiana in the winter, but
I do
that
that.
was kind of one of the
so
tips.
I've just put on my blue light. We'll see now if I can report back tomorrow to having a fantastic night's
gonna
sleep
happen
and not being.
overnight.
Oh, when I went, oh my god, you're very negatory. Anyway,
Negatory. All that to say, you don't think you're very stressed, but then when we get into it, actually, you must be because you're barely sleeping.
yeah, but I also wonder if the lack of sleep is what's causing my stress. Because I do think that
yeah.
I don't think I would be. I'm not. I mean, I think I have a pretty good ability to regulate my stress, to not overreact to things, to kind of put things in perspective. But when I'm not sleeping, I have zero of that, and I cry a lot at like all sad TV, any sad songs. I like to take out my Wordsworth poem and cry at it, which I mean makes no sense, right? I then cried also at that Seamus Heaney poem the other day that I've mentioned before, where I just was like, where's that really sad Seamus Heaney poem? Like, why? Why, right? But I do think that work is stressful right now.
Mm-hmm.
My work is stressful. The kids in and out of school and quarantine is incredibly stressful.
The kids are stressful, full stop.
No, but like not having a routine with them. And since
Yes,
going
yeah,
back to
okay,
school,
yeah.
we've been back for less than a month and they've been quarantined, the group of them 3 times.
Yeah.
So that's unrelaxing. And now I'm worrying about things like, are they going to get a decent education? Are they going to, like, things that I don't normally worry about? But I would say that historically, the thing that I've stressed out the most about in my life, that I find the most stressful, that I end up having the most fights about, is money or lack thereof.
Oh.
So that, not like, not recently, but
No, I thought you were going to say work. That's interesting.
no, I've just never been great at managing money. And I would say that has been my biggest cause of stress. I think that credit card with the €1,000 limit that I got in Italy was probably the single most stressful small slice of hell that I should never have been allowed sign for.
I was just telling Brandon that my very, very first credit card that I got when I was in college was had a 2,500 euro limit. I didn't even have a job.
Yeah.
That
I
was
did
the
have a
Celtic
job.
Tiger. I don't know what was going on. It was nuts.
I had a job and my annual salary was 22,000 euro. So I think that they should not have been giving me, like when you think about the fact that you're paying at least half, so you're getting taxed on that, then you're paying at least 1,000 euro on, I think my rent was like 800 or 950 or something like that. So I mean, I did not have enough to be paying off whatever the interest was, 29% a month, you know?
No,
Which I
but they're kind of
probably,
depending on that, aren't they?
yeah, which I'm sure I couldn't even read the fine print in Italian,
Oh
right?
yeah, you were just like, great.
Yeah, I was like, yes, free money.
I'm gonna go shopping.
It wasn't.
Like this may surprise you, maybe. I don't find money stressful at all until I have none.
That's what I mean. It's not
Yeah.
it's not money per se. It's a concern about like when unavoidable things happen, and you're like, how am I going to pay for this, or where am I going to get that money for that? That's where.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even get like I don't think about unavoidable things. I don't think about like, oh, I've no buffer. I
Oh, no,
literally
no.
don't think
I mean,
about it
when
until
I'm talking
yeah.
about when
the
disaster
moment
strikes.
that the moment
Yes.
that it gets to like,
Yeah.
oh no, I can't DoorDash that McDonald's because I
Oh,
literally
for
have no
God's
money.
sake, that is not that is
No, but that's it's not the McDonald's that starts stressing me out. It's just like as soon as I'm like, shit, I don't even have 11 euro or like $11, then I'm like, oh my God. So that's reasonable, I think.
yeah, that is.
If you don't have
reasonable.
$11, you are in trouble.
But do you find that? So, what's your biggest cause of stress?
I don't know. I think there's probably like a lot of little things that get me very stressed out. So like, but kind of stupidly. So like I can recognize it as well that like when I'm with the boys all day, and if they're just like up to 90 and they're being really antsy, like I let myself get really stressed about it, and then I feel really frazzled, and then I get annoyed, and then I get annoyed at myself for being annoyed, or I feel like I'm snappy with them, or same with like if I have a lot of work on, instead of actually methodically going through the tasks I have to do, I procrastinate, and then I get really frazzled about, oh my God, I have to do these 3 things in this short space of time. Or if I'm going somewhere and I think I'm going to be late, instead of just making sure I'm not going to be late. I mean, look, I don't mind being late to social occasions, but if I'm going to the doctor or something and I'm like, shit, I'm going to be 5 minutes late, then I get really frazzled about that. You know what I mean? So it's all kind of stuff that I could, if I was calmer and more methodical at the beginning, most of my stresses I think are completely avoidable.
But didn't your doctor say recently maybe you can't help this?
Well, my therapist, my American therapist, who's led me to conclude that Americans love a diagnosis, suggested, well, I was telling her about how I work, and I was like, you know, she was like, do you have set hours? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I was like, no, I don't, absolutely don't. I wait until I have a deadline and then I do it. Yeah. I was like, no.
You're like, I do. Between 9 and 12, I like to watch reruns of Love Island.
No.
Between 12 and 1, I like
Island's
to
over.
DoorDash my McDonald's to myself. Then I eat it and muse about things I could be doing.
Oh, no. I was also telling her about how if I have a meeting in an afternoon, so like if I have a meeting with a client or if I have a call with someone or at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., I can't do anything unrelated to that for the morning, and I can barely do anything related to it. So I usually just sit down and write a to-do list or write a list of like things to ask on my call.
You do love a good to-do list.
And then I watch blackhead squeezing videos for 2 hours.
Jesus, that was
until call time
the other day.
Yeah, but I was telling her this, and then she was like, you know, a lot of what you're describing sounds a bit like ADHD. Has anyone ever suggested that you have ADHD before? It's like, no, they have not.
But no doubt you Googled the symptoms. Do you feel like you might have them?
I think I had actually Googled my whole like procrastination thing before, and it had come up because Brandon has ADHD, and was only diagnosed, I think, in the last kind of 2 or 3 years, and started taking medication, and now feels like he's much better at getting things done and at adhering to tasks and not putting things off and not getting himself in a frenzy about things, if you know what I mean. He still gets a bit of a frenzy sometimes, if you ask me, but he thinks it's working wonders. And I had Googled it. I think I had Googled his symptoms as well. And part of me had gone, I kind of do that.
That's why we're so perfect together.
But I don't think it's ADHD. I think it's just like bad habits from being freelance and being able to panic and work from 6 to 11 p.m. the night before a deadline instead of actually working during the day. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I do love a bit of cramming myself, I'll tell you. Like, if I have a deadline and I have ample time to do things, I will probably leave it till, there's no margin now for extra time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's my great source of stress at the moment, because over the next 2 weeks, I have like a big client project I've been working on to finish. I have a personal project that's kind of to do with like my Patreon. I have like basically a whole load of writing to get done before I have the baby. And then I have my fucking book to finish.
You've got a couple of podcasts to record.
I've got a couple of podcasts. Don't remind me. I'd forgotten about that. I'm telling you,
sounds
like
quite a lot, and you only have 14 days or 13 days. Well, I will tell you, like, I've been preparing for your baby shower, your extremely successful baby shower. may I
Extremely
say.
successful. Somebody messaged me on Instagram and said it was the cutest looking baby shower they'd ever seen.
Oh, it's so nice.
Thank you.
I have to say thank you to Vera Bradley for providing yards of fabric for us to cover everything with and make it look very colourful.
Very cute.
And even though I was like prepping, like anticipating it for weeks, for probably like 6 months, and buying,
She was.
plates and napkins, and I was
And
like, okay,
telling
I'll
me
get
all these plans, and like every time she told me something, I'd be like, we don't need to do that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but everything was worth it. in the
Everything
end.
was worth it. And I'd like to say you were absolutely anti the idea of a photographer. And
I
was
was.
it wonderful?
Well, the photographer was like, it helped that the photographer was really not like the total dote.
Absolute dote.
So nice.
We'll do a little shout out there to Helen Mazer.
She was
Wonderful
great.
photographer.
Yeah.
If anybody's looking for a photographer in the Indiana, Michigan, Ohio area.
Northeast Indiana.
Yes.
Isn't that where we are?
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
She was great.
Well, we haven't actually seen any of the photos, but I
I
particularly
saw some of
liked-
them on her camera.
Oh, I saw some, but I mean, don't have any yet to share. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
particularly like the fact that she brought that wind machine and blew. And I mean, for somebody who was protesting, I do not want to be photographed. Next, you were getting into
I
it.
just
by the
gave
end
into
of
it in the end. She was like, can we take a few portraits? And I initially said no.
Yes,
And then she
you,
was-
You also said, "I'm not putting my hand on my belly."
Oh,
Next thing you know, I look over. The hair is blowing. Both hands are on the belly. Very
because I was
regal.
just like, fine, this is what the people want. Just give them what they want.
Well, it was very
But
good.
Claire McCabe is going to be horrified. Oh, look at you with your hands on
Claire
your belly,
McCabe
just
is-
like Meghan Markle.
She's
She
going
hates
to be
that.
delighted.
No, she hates it. She's like, don't tell me you're a bump holder. She's obsessed with this.
She is actually obsessed. That's ridiculous. Why do you have to hold your bump?
She gives me a lot of stress sometimes.
Can't we see your bump? Can't we see it? Do you need to? Why is your hand on it? Is your hand holding it up? No. Is it going to fall off? No. I mean, she gets very.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind actually at this stage.
Oh my god.
Might have just dropped off and you're like a baby.
Well, anyway, all I was going to say was, I then took 2 days off, which may have been overkill, prior to the thing to do all the cooking and everything. But I did find myself doing a lot of turning in circles, and I probably could have done with a good list, because I would like boil the eggs and then kind of leave them. Then I was, cooking the chicken. Then I was like, oh, I'll go over here and I'll prep a bit of this. Then I was prepping something else. Then I was like, oh, I'll go outside and I'll set up the tables. Like, I didn't really do a great job of kind of completing one task, moving on to the next task. I did a lot of like bits of things. And then I blew up
Yeah.
all the balloons with you in attendance.
We made
You were-
beautiful balloon arches.
You were a great help. Thanks for that. And then
You're
I was,
welcome.
but then I was so impressed by how, you saw me then blither and blather over like, where should this balloon arch go? And where will I put this here? And next thing you know, Dawn swoops in with a bit of silver gaffer tape and just sticks the balloons everywhere. And
They
then
look great.
They look great. And then they were
Yeah.
up, and I was like, oh. I mean, now Dawn did work
know
in
what you
event
mean.
planning, but there was something to just the decisive action where I
yeah,
feel I
you
wasn't
can,
as good
you
as
can
that.
definitely think circles around yourself.
Yes.
And you know what I like? I do love a to-do list, but I'm not a good to-do lister. Like I've seen people do them where they will mark them out into different priorities. You know what I mean? Like has to be done now, can be done this week, can be done whenever, or first, second, third kind of thing. I never do that. I write an extensive to-do list of all the things I have to do for the week, and then I stare at it, mouth open, and I put on a blackhead squeezing video in the background, and I go, I'll get to that to-do list now in a minute. I just need a minute to drink my coffee.
Do you use your to-do list, or do you just do it to get it out of your head?
I use my to-do list.
Well, I found a good technique. I might have mentioned this already. Like I found recently, I was getting very stressed. But I'd wake up in the middle of the night, as already mentioned, and think about like I must do this and I must do that and I must. And I do a lot of composing emails in my mind in bed instead of. And part of me goes, I should just sit up and write the emails. But the other one is like I don't want to turn on the computer.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be, maybe I should just get up, spend an hour working, which is probably like any mental health professional's like least recommended route.
Well, if you could work in a dimly lit room and handwrite.
Yeah, but then the work's
have
not
to
done.
put
I
it in
still
an
have to do
email.
it
I
the
know,
next
I
day,
know,
right? So
I
that's
know.
not very useful. But anyway, I was in the office and I was like, God, I have to do this, and I'd forgotten about this, and I did put a notebook beside my bed, and then Bo made off with it, and I found it covered with like pictures of Bendy weeks later, so that wasn't helpful. And every time I put anything beside my bed, it goes missing. But anyway, maybe this is my stress,
Your children.
the chaos. Yeah. Anyway, so I just did this list, and it was to your point, like things of anything that I just needed to get done, like do the dry cleaning, put on a wash, have an appointment with so and so, make that hair appointment, follow up, and I put everything down. And then like I just kept referring it to so I mean it was a to-do list, but it wasn't like I did a to-do list every day or every week.
Yeah.
It was more like I have these things that I need to get done, and then I just kind of did them one by one, and that felt very helpful to me to have this reference, which I know is a to-do list, but it felt different to me because I do to-do lists which are like must do these things, but like they're all the things that are going to get done during the day anyway. But it's more like sometimes I write
Yeah.
them down kind of because I feel like it gives me control, but actually it just wastes my time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Whereas, yeah, like my to-do lists they are to-do lists. I do one every week. I usually do it on a Sunday or a Monday, and then I'll add to it during the week. But then at the end of the week, I'll transfer things to the next week when I haven't done them, which is like a lot.
You and Roseanne are probably like together one perfect person. Roseanne's probably going to write in and be like, of course I do to-do lists on a Sunday after I cook meals for 77 people regimented throughout the week. But, you know, between you and the to-do list on a Sunday I do none of these things. On a Sunday I relax. At about 11 p.m. I think I better get the kids' clothes ready for tomorrow. And then I resent them because I think they should be able to get their own clothes ready at
Well,
this
the
point.
10 and the 7-year-old should ish.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this is actually touching on what we should be talking about, which is things that you do to alleviate stress.
Mhm.
So on a Sunday, I feel like you do tend to try to do things to try to relax a bit, don't
I
you?
do, yeah, I do. I try if I have stuff to do at the weekend, I prefer to get it done on a Saturday.
Yeah, and then have Sunday off.
I prefer to not make commitments on a Sunday yet because I just want to not have it hanging over me because I need to just switch off before I start again.
And so what do you do to switch off?
Read. I decorate the house. I clean sometimes, but like it's stuff that I want to tidy up, or
Yeah.
you know, I go through things. Like the other day, I was like, why do I have this massive big chest of drawers in my bedroom full of junk? It is basically a receptacle for nothing.
I mean, a lot of things in all of our houses, I think, are receptacles. I think that's a very relatable receptacles
But like
for
I don't
nothing.
and it's stress. Do you know what that stresses me out? That those knowing that there is an object in a room full of stuff that's not shouldn't be in it, that is in
That's
the wrong
not
place.
categorized or tidied.
Yes,
Or, yeah.
literally vibrates like it's on a different plane.
As
in my
Grandpa would
mind.
call it, a ready comat.
A ready comat, exactly. There's a ready comat. Like that thing there that I'm pointing at I'm currently pointing at, what is that?
Chest of drawers?
Chest, it's like a filing cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
That thing there is actually useful. It's full of the things it's supposed to be full of.
Oh,
And I'm happy with that,
I
right?
would never have credited it with
Mhm.
it. I would have assumed it was full of Legos and like
No.
bags of cutlery.
It's a perfectly good filing cabinet. And when I'm looking for a document, I go there and I
And it's
find
in
it.
there.
Yes. Now, when I go upstairs to my chest of drawers, which is 4 massive drawers high,
Mm-hmm.
when I open them, there's nothing in it that I ever would need. There's nothing in it that I'm ever going to use again. There's probably a spoon of some shape or form. There is probably old, dried up, what's that stuff called?
Sudocreme?
No, plasticine. That's not what it's called.
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh. There's definitely a tub of Sudocreme. Vaseline without a lid and some hair in it. Like crap.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Stuff that needs to go in the bin.
yeah.
So on a Sunday, I like to take some time and at least fix one thing. Like
Clear out something.
Yes, like last week, I did my color-coded shelf in my library, and that was to me, when it was finished,
Very
extremely
soothing.
rewarding and cathartic.
Mm-hmm.
During it, I wished I had never started.
Mhm.
So that's another thing. Tidying up is great at the end, but the beginning of it, because I,
Yeah.
like you, don't do a half tidy up. I take everything
Take
out
everything
and then
off and everything out. Yeah.
and then wonder why I started.
Yeah.
What else do I like to take a bath? I like to paint my nails.
Oh, I wish you'd paint my nails. I was
I'll
thinking about
happily
yesterday.
paint your nails. Actually, my nails are really creepily
Well,
long
no, I
right
actually
now.
just might go and get my nail. Might go and get a shellac, you know.
Oh, very
little
fancy.
last.
Desperate fancy. And the way you just did those little hands there.
I know. I might get it done like the week before I'm due, and then hopefully it'll last 2 weeks after
You
the
literally
baby.
look like a squirrel. So cute.
A meerkat.
Yes.
Um,
What do you do to relax, Rosemary?
well, I also enjoy kind of pottering around the house, and sometimes, you know what? Like, I'll FaceTime mom. She's like, "What are you doing today?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just tidying up this." She's like, "Oh, you should be taking, you should take it easy." I'm like, "That is kind of taking it easy." Do you know what I mean? You just potter around, and like at the moment, I'm like, I started off 6 months ago. I was like, I'm not going to wash a thing. Ridiculous! I'm not going to wash these baby clothes. They're all washed. They've all been washed in the draft. They all smell like
Heaven.
heavenly baby.
I also like to wallpaper.
Do you really find that a stress reliever?
I found that very relaxing.
Oh,
Very relaxing. Also because I think painting is not as relaxing because the children can get in the paint, which they did last time, and then walked the paint all over the bedroom floor. So wallpapering, they can't do that. They can crumple up some of
Good
the
point.
rolls. But I mean, I'm talking about now the ready stick wallpaper. Not
oh yeah,
the-
yeah. Peel and
Which I
stick.
find very, very relaxing.
I did assemble some little birdies for the wall of our baby's room. We got these like 3D kind of, you know, the card ones that slot into each other. So we got
Oh,
them
that's
for the
nice.
baby's room. That was cute, but only because it was a bit like doing a jigsaw, and each puzzle had 6 pieces.
Jigsaws.
Yeah, but not that yellow one we're doing at the
Oh
moment.
God, no! Or that toilet roll one that we had to actually give up on.
Or the shells one. We've done a few.
Oh,
very,
I didn't mind the shells one as much.
Oh,
That
I
was
didn't
more
really like the
rewarding.
shells.
This one is just not very relaxing because it's like you're just staring at it
It's
for
too
ages.
hard. It's too hard. I like a difficult jigsaw. I don't mean to play down my our jigsaw abilities. Probably more yours than mine. I like a difficult jigsaw, but this one is just It's not even really fun.
It's just,
It's all
you know
too
what?
similar.
It's just not a very cute picture. That's the problem. It's like, I don't feel like, oh God, this is gorgeous.
Sorry
It's
about
not.
that for you now.
Well, sorry.
Bitch.
What else? You like online shopping? I don't find that relaxing. Would you like to online shop?
Yeah, I don't really find it that relaxing. I find online, basically, I genuinely believe that if I was a size 8 to 10, I would find online shopping. I mean, I'd do it even more than I do now. I'd find it so relaxing because I would
Yeah.
know
Mhm.
that 90% of the things I'm going to buy are going to, if not be beautiful, like maybe I'll end up returning them anyway, but at least they're going to fit me. Whereas I think as like a size 16 person, when I online shop, half the time the size 16s don't fit me. Half the time the size 18s don't fit me. And then if they do fit me, they often look totally different to how they looked in the model online. So I get really annoyed.
Do you know what else though? I honestly think that pre the days when clothing was shown on all body types, I could online shop and genuinely believe that I was going to look a certain way, the way I wanted to look,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But now that everything is shown on all body types, I look at a dress and I go, gorgeous. And I have this, oh my God, that's going to be so gorgeous, be so beautiful. And then I swipe through a couple of different body types and I go, oh no, it's going to look like that on me. No. And so it's no longer as kind of transformative a moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shopping, it's not as much a dream based state anymore. I've just constantly been brought back to like the reality of, oh, if only my bum was smaller, then this would actually be nice. Oh,
also-
who am I fooling?
like,
This is not going to be
Also,
nice on me.
I feel like you're being more obviously reminded that these jeans were designed on a size 8 model, and here they've shown you them on a size 16 model who they were not designed for, and they look like crap because they're badly designed.
I'm not even like crap sometimes. Sometimes it's just more like, that's not how I want
Oh
to
yeah,
look.
that's not how I imagine myself looking in those
Yes.
paper bag jeans.
Yeah,
A pair of paper
exactly.
bag jeans I was looking at yesterday that I was like, beautiful, I'd love them on Gap. And then I scrolled through and I was like, oh no, terrible.
I know. Well, I
They
was
look
looking
like
at a
they're
very
terrible
cute
wedgie.
jacket, also on Gap, actually, what's become of me. And I was looking at a very cute jacket and I was like, that would look
I
so
think I
cute.
may have seen this same jacket.
Yeah, it was kind of cream,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, that would be really nice. I was like, this seems very expensive for a jacket from Gap. And then I was going, oh no, I'm just going to look like, I'm going to look like I'm put that, I might as well buy myself a pair of like leopard print Crocs to bring my trash out.
Sorry, do you remember the time I bought the jacket and I looked like a yokel extra from Fargo? Like, not even a cool extra. Like, I looked terrible. I didn't look like a Brooklyn hipster wearing a Fargo jacket. I looked literally like they were like going through a town and they went into the petrol station to interview the old lady who worked there. That's what I look like.
What was I wearing recently? What did I wear to the office recently? And Kevin was like, oh my God, you look like Kate Winslet. And I was delighted. And he's like,
In Mare of Easttown.
in Mare of Easttown. Yeah. And then he took a picture of me and a picture of Kate Winslet, screenshotted it, and then passed it around to everybody in the office. He was like, check this out.
That's workplace bullying, Beatrice.
Oh my God, good one. Well, it was actually hilarious. But what must I have been wearing? I think I was wearing a shirt, I think I was wearing a check shirt. And I was wearing a hoodie. I was wearing a hoodie.
A hoodie to work?
I was here
You work
working
in
from
fashion.
home. I was working from home. I was wearing hoodies are cool. Hello, Supreme. Anyway, hello,
God,
Kanye.
put that hand down.
Hello, Yeezus.
Hoodies are cool.
Anyway, I was wearing a hoodie and I had my hair in a ponytail. I don't know. Anyway, I wasn't really looking like myself. But I mean, the one moment in my life when I'm going to be compared to Kate Winslet was not exactly the one I was wishing for. It's a bit like the time you compared me to Aileen Wuornos in to like Charlize Theron. You look just like Charlize Theron in Monster. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, between that and Mick Hucknall. But anyway, I mean, talk about good for my self-image. Anyway, back to what relieves your stress. So, stress relief. Listening to music, cooking, sometimes, rarely, honestly, just because it's usually like with 20 minutes and I want like a delicious meal and I've given myself 20 minutes and half the ingredients are
Cooking
missing.
doesn't relax me at all because I just don't feel like I'm very good at it, so I get a bit stressed. So it just increases my stress. Listening to music, I don't really listen to music that much. I listened to the Lauryn Hill album the other day and I was like, I should listen to this more often, The Miseducation of. But then I listen to a lot of podcasts. And actually,
no,
I
I
find
don't
that
find-
quite relaxing.
I don't
But
find that relaxing at all.
yeah, no, I do find that quite relaxing. It kind of depends on the podcast, but I just like the kind of background noise. So I listen to podcasts while I'm pottering around the house or while I'm tidying or while I'm doing something else.
Well, I think it's because I'm at work all day talking to people. Like I
Listening to
literally,
people. Yeah, I'm not.
People are talking at me all day, and then I'm at home and my kids are talking to me
Yeah.
until bedtime. And so I think that's why I actually don't like podcasts. I feel like it's just too much
Chatter.
sensory overload of my
Yeah.
ears, you know?
Yeah. Whereas I can sometimes go 6, 7, 8 hours a day without hearing a single other voice, except for through podcasts or TV or whatever.
So maybe that's also why I like to read, because you said you have observed that you find it interesting that I can so determinedly focus on reading.
Oh
and
my
tune
God.
out.
You should see, guys, you should see the tuning out that goes on here. Like, Beatrice picks up a book and you go, oh, hang on, before you start that, are we going to have dinner now? Or are we going to have dinner later? Silence. Or like even you pick up your phone and once you start reading an email or once you start reading a news article, there's no communicating with you, as Mum would say.
Communicating. Well, I mean, I did feel bad about this the other day with her when Bo was like, Mom, I hurt myself. Mom, I hurt myself. Mom, I hurt myself. And I was like, what?
And what did he do to himself?
Oh, I don't know, like he banged himself over the table or something. But I was like, I really wasn't. I wasn't there. I like to think that I'll hear those important things.
You do. I mean, listen, when the baby slid across the floor,
I did hear that
in that hotel and screamed, you came running in in your Michael Caine nightgown.
I did.
Like Michael Caine from Up a Christmas
Speed of
Carol.
light. Speed of time
you were
travel.
practically flying like he was with the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh, bless.
Flying into the room.
Well, I mean, I learned this from Dad now, and Dad's a very relaxed individual, I would say. Actually, do you know what? I'd say both of our parents are pretty relaxed. Dad more than
Oh yeah,
Mom.
sure. Mom's always gone on about how in her day there was no such thing as stress.
She's actually, she's definitely not the person to go to in need of like a pep talk or not even
any kind of crisis.
Actually, no, a pep talk she would 100% give you right when you don't want it.
Oh yeah. Sorry. When you're talking about like empathy versus advice.
Empathy, yes.
She's not the one you go for empathy.
Because she just cannot comprehend it. Like, what do you have to be stressed about? Aren't you happy? Larry? Aren't you married? Don't you have a lovely life? Don't you have 2 gorgeous boys, another one on the way? What's stressful? Sure. I mean, I think nowadays people just imagine this stress. There's no stress.
I'm sure they do. Sometimes.
Sure isn't stress a choice. That's the other one. Sure isn't stress a choice. Don't you just, when you're up. You just choose to get up.
No.
To be in a good mood.
She doesn't say it isn't stress a choice. What she'd say is, you'd go, I'm just really stressed about work. And she'd go, well, you could be working down in Tesco and you'd have no stress. But you chose this job. You're like, thanks, Mom. It's very helpful. Do you know what I mean? She's like, you could be like, you could be working painting nails. That wouldn't be all that stressful.
But you know what? Now that you say that, I don't think I've actually ever heard Mom complain.
She only complains about Dad.
But I mean, she never complains about her own stress levels. Or
she doesn't have any stress levels.
Yeah, sure, stress is a choice.
We can ask her. Anyway, I'm really sorry to segue from Mom to this, but one of the things in magazines, right, that you always read when it's talking about stress, like alleviating stress, is masturbating. Right? I thought you'd like this. Unroll your eyes. Beatrice, we are grown women with sex lives. We can talk about masturbating. If you can't talk about it, you shouldn't be doing it. Look at you're having a conniption now. Anyway, the point is, when I'm stressed, I have to be in a state of pure relaxation to even think about masturbating. When I'm stressed, there's absolutely no way. What about you?
I can't even cope with you. I don't know how that would ever spring to mind as a stress reliever.
That's in magazines. They're always saying orgasms are great stress relievers.
Well, I mean, great, but like if you're in a point of pure stress, you're not going there. That's like, get away from me or get away from myself. I'm busy worrying over here over my checkbook.
Get away from myself. Imagine you now slapping your hand away
get
from
away
your crotch.
From me.
Get away from me.
Get away from me. I'm here agonizing over my checkbook. That is like, those two things are not related.
But I mean, it must work for some people if people are always talking about it.
Who are these people? I literally don't know who these people are who are always talking about it. I thought you were going to say draw yourself a nice hot bath and put some candles around the bath. That's what I'm always reading.
I would never say draw a bath,
no,
Jane
in
Austen.
a magazine.
I would say run a bath.
It's not you. You said people in magazines.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's like Liv Tyler, who said, nothing to do with masturbation, who said, I like to run a long bath at the end of the day, draw myself a long bath, stay in the bath for about an hour and a half and just light candles all around my room. What TV show were we watching recently? Virgin Rubber.
Virgin Rubber, yeah.
Virgin Rubber, where where she goes, come on into the tiny bathroom, and then gives her a nightmare coconut cupcake in the bath.
Oh yeah,
hideous,
that was gross.
Hideous.
That was so gross.
That would just add to my stress levels. But also had like 5 million candles
and
lit
then the house burnt down. No wonder.
It's a wooden cabin. What was he thinking?
Spoiler alert for Virgin Rubber season 3.
But also, I mean, you'd be surprised here. I'd forgotten the cabin burnt down. But more to the point, like, who has all those candles? That would cost have been the most expensive.
You do right now for my baby shower.
I only have about 11 for your baby shower. I only have 11. You can take them home.
For my baby shower.
You can actually, your bath's the perfect size because it's tiny, as somebody pointed out on Instagram.
That was perspective. My bath is actually massive.
You can put those 11 candles around your bath, and you can have a nice relaxing bath tonight, and that will relieve all your stress. And then when you're done with that, you can go off and do that thing that you were talking about doing to yourself.
Oh, sorry, you can't even say the word
because you'll be in the mood.
What thing?
You can give yourself some self-love.
Do you mean like a face mask?
Whatever floats your boat.
This has been Not Without My Sister with me, Rosemary McCabe, and my 10-year-old sister, Beatrice McCabe, who, despite having had 4 children, and I hope at least 4 orgasms in her life,
Rosemary,
cannot say the word masturbating.
Rosemary, having 4 children has nothing to do with masturbation.
No, but it means that you've been sexually active, you idiot.
Rosemary, wrap it up there.
Thank you all so much for listening and for being tolerant of Beatrice being very immature. You can get us on social media at Rosemary McCabe, at Beatrice McCabe, and at Not Without My Sister. Our website is notwithoutmysis.com. Email us, notwithoutmysis@gmail.com, if you have anything to contribute to the conversation. Or if you truly believe that blue light is keeping Beatrice up at night, please let us. Actually, if you're a sleep hygienist and you want to give Beatrice some free advice, please do slide into our DMs or drop us an email. As I mentioned up top, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/notwithoutmysister. And we will catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye. This episode of Not Without My Sister is edited by Tall Tales. Sound and original music are by Don Kirkland, and our original illustration is by Lindsay Nielsen.
Not Without My Sister is a proud member of The Warren, the home of great Irish podcasts, as is my podcast, the Dublin Story Slam podcast. You can find them all over at thewarren.ie.